The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3. Welcome to the first episode of In 3, a podcast that has been in our hearts and in our minds for some time, and now it's out there, and we're so glad you're here with us. I'm Danielle Graham.
I am Callie, and yay!
And yay!
We're doing it.
We are doing it. We're doing it as not only great friends. Callie and I have been friends for a long time, but that friendship origin story actually dates back to when we worked together on an entertainment show.
That's right.
So I was the host. Callie was one of the producers. My favorite, if I'm being honest.
Well, I should hope so.
No, and it was known. Like, I think everybody knew.
I think people knew.
I think everybody knew. So we've known each other for so long in those capacities, and a beautiful friendship grew out of that. Yeah. And then we accidentally became neighbors.
Yes, we bought houses next door to each other.
Yeah.
Within 2 weeks of one another.
That's right.
And so we've been on this couch many a day, many a night, often with a glass of wine.
Yep.
Dishing about what we know best, which is entertainment headlines.
Yeah.
And today is the day that the world gets to be a fly on the wall inside our conversations. And the reasons why this is so fun, there's a couple reasons.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, I just love sitting with you. The second reason is, I mean, you are a fixture in Canadian media. You've been on our screens for so long. And I think it's really exciting for those who've been following your career to finally get to see you for all that you are, for your beauty, for your intellect, for your opinions, which are spicy, my friends. Get ready, because Danielle Graham has a mic and she has so much to say that has never been said before because of the boundaries of the show that we worked for.
That's right. I do have so much to say. And that's what's really exciting about doing this show with you, is we can share those stories, the people we've met, the moments that we caught, the rooms we were in, the things we could never have shared on broadcast television, the machine behind the machine, the moments we've seen that nobody wanted us to see. We can finally spill some of those details, and we can use those stories to kind of add context to the stories we're seeing today and to fill them in. Like, you know, we're going to get into Blake Lively. I've met Blake Lively.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for my thoughts on what's going on with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. All that to say, I am really grateful that we have this platform and we're able to do that. And to everybody that has been along on this journey with me for, as you know, from the show we were on previously, to anybody that has been with me since the YTV hit list days. I mean, you guys are the best.
Full circle, we have come.
We have.
And this is so exciting. And there's just no rules. There's no boundaries. There's no limit on where we can take this.
That's right.
And I think the people are going to be really excited about all that juice.
Yeah. And there's no one I'd rather do this with than you, my dishiest pal.
Love you.
What you can expect from every episode of In 3, we are going to get into the big 3 stories of the week, the stories we are obsessed with, the ones that we share constantly in our DMs, and the ones we love to unpack and dissect. And then we're going to color those in with, you know, our thoughts and our experiences and our stories.
Yes.
Exactly. So the big 3. And then we're going to get into we have to talk about.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to wrap up every
I love
episode.
This one.
I do too. So this week, the big 3, we are going into the Golden Globes. So we've got a lot to share there.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, the weird.
The ugly, the unfortunate.
We do have a lot to chat about Globes-wise. We are going to get into Blake and Justin, the story that, you know, consumed our holiday break.
I mean, truly, we could do an entire episode about that, but we'll spare you all of those very, very minute details because maybe we're only excited about those, but I can't wait to unpack that. And like you said, we both have firsthand experience with both of those, with many of the people that are involved in that story.
We sure do.
We will unpack. And then the third story we're going to get into is J.Lo and Ben. Their divorce is final. We got a lot to say. We have some sisterly advice.
Yeah. And I have to take back some feelings I had. So I'm in a retraction stage with this story.
I don't know about that.
You know,
Okay.
Callie, it is all about accountability these days, and I need to be accountable for the things I said previously.
Yeah,
so,
or else you might get a complaint.
Yeah,
a formal complaint.
And with that, let's get into it. All right, the Golden Globes officially kicked off award season.
Yes.
I was really excited for the Globes this year.
Yeah.
For me, they were okay. I'm going to say okay. It wasn't anything I'm like I'm going to remember in 5 years' time. But they got me excited for what's to come. They did their job, but I wasn't like, oh my God, that was the greatest award show ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Golden Globes job is to just get the celebrities fired up, get them on the red carpets. What we know about the Golden Globes is that because they have TV and film, and because they have multiple awards in each actor category, like musicals and comedies and all the things, that they can invite the best and messiest and funnest stars to this event that don't necessarily get the invite to the big ones like the Oscars. And it's just a little bit unserious. And I love that about the Globes. So I agree with you that the show wasn't necessarily one to write home about. No, we won't be talking about it in years to come. But for me, it was just messy enough that I got what I needed from it.
You're right. The fix was there.
The fix was there.
You got the hit of what you needed it to be.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. I've covered the Globes probably like a half dozen times.
Right.
It is far and away the most fun you can have on a red carpet. You've done a number of red carpets. It's mostly just really just like shouting to try to get someone's attention and get them to talk to you. The Globe serves those little mini bottles of champagne, and that is where things happen.
Yeah, they get lit and then they get fun.
Yeah.
And
no one's been eating either leading up to drinking that champagne.
Of course.
The amount of alcohol breath I have smelled from celebrities on that carpet, I'm telling you, it could have ignited a flame. It was
my God, I love
dragon champagne breath. That's what they're known for.
Yeah.
And listen, Mario Lopez was handing out shots of tequila,
which I love.
according to Kieran Culkin. I love it. So you're right. It's messy. It's a weird hodgepodge of people that
hodgepodge. That's a good word for it.
Yeah. Film doesn't mess with TV.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So when you bring them together, it's an interesting dynamic
In the smallest room you could possibly imagine. I know it looks so small.
Yeah.
When we watch the broadcast,
It looks intimate.
It's more than intimate. Like my kids' gymnasium at their school is bigger than the theater in which they hold the Golden Globes. Like you can't even push your chair out all the way. You have to be, excuse me, sorry. You're scooching. You're scooching all night.
Which totally adds to the mess of it all.
Yes.
Because the people have to interact.
Yeah.
They are walking so close together. If you're talking to someone, you're, brushing up against another. And it made for a couple interesting run-ins. One of which was Demi Moore, whom I love.
Yeah.
I loved her speech.
Oh.
I'm excited for her comeback. I saw the movie yesterday. I do watch weird things while I'm working out. So I decided, okay, Demi, I will watch The Substance. Huh?
Great?
No.
Oh.
Not great.
Haven't watched it
was
yet.
so effing weird. But anyways, that's besides the point. Demi was chit-chatting with the Fanning sisters. The Fanning sisters, at least Elle, was sitting with Timmy Chalamet.
That looked like the most fun table.
It really did. Timmy Chalamet brought his little thing.
It's got to be a girlfriend if you're launching at an award show.
Well, they did it last year.
That's it.
So this was his second award show or award season with Kylie Jenner by his side. And people are saying that Demi snubbed Kylie.
So as in hello to Timmy, no acknowledgement of the Kylie?
Let me paint the picture. She went over to Timmy and Elle, who were sitting next to each other. Timmy was, congratulating her. She had just won. You can see Kylie behind Demi being like, congratulations. Not even an acknowledgement.
Ooh.
And then when the Fanning sisters who were behind Kylie, so she had to look over Kylie's head to acknowledge them, still no acknowledgement. Now, Demi's daughters have come out and said, get over yourselves. There's no story here. But I watched the clip and there's a little story there.
Was it just a smidge of shade? Does it feel?
Just a smidge.
Or is it the kind of thing, do you ever get into a room? I'm just wondering.
Okay.
I'm not doubting that there was something. It's very possible. Have you ever been in a room though where you're just overwhelmed and you feel like,
totally,
I have to make sure I talk to this person and I have to make sure I give this person some FaceTime and I need to make sure I check in on the latest of your life. And then you don't always nail it.
Of
so
course.
you
And
hit
then-
maybe 80%.
And add the layer of you just won this big award. It's a very emotional moment. Of course, benefit of the doubt we could give her. But
Right.
we could also make it a messy story and talk about this messy clip that I saw. And also, I want to say, you know, Kylie being there with Timmy, this isn't the first year that she's gotten a little bit of heat from being with him. Last year, the story was about, remember, Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez with the lip reading incident, which people said at that time was dishing about the fact that Kylie was there with Timmy.
Yes.
So this is not new. I mean, the Kardashian-Jenner women, they love to be the center of the fodder, and I think she'll be okay. I absolutely love that couple, Timmy and Kylie.
You do?
I love them. I think it's so perfectly weird.
I don't get
and
it.
strange. And to go from Travis Scott to Timothée Chalamet, I'm like, you know what? I just kind of love it.
What are they talking about? What are these two people having conversation about? That's what I can't figure out. I could look at most couples and be like, I get it. There's something here. And you're like, okay, you probably align on this. And, and maybe this is your thread. I can't find a thread.
Yeah, but that's what I love. It's like, I think that Kylie is underexposed. Like, we don't know a lot about her. But knowing that Timmy is in love with her, he's in love. He's bringing her to the globe, sitting with her proudly, kissing, touching legs. Feel like that says a lot about her. But we don't know it.
I know. And maybe that is the thing. Maybe the mystery is the thing. Maybe they can't really figure the other one out either. And they're just like, I don't know why I'm so into you, but I'm so into you.
Yeah,
and
I think
maybe
it says something about each of them. I'm not sure what it is, but I can't get enough. And I could not get enough photos, enough shots of them. But the other couple we have to talk about, only one half was there, but she was sporting a extremely big rock.
Zendaya. And listen, she can do no wrong. She is literal perfection every time she steps out of her home.
Like,
has she ever had a miss?
How is it possible?
No. On top of that, also just the nicest human being. Everyone on earth, who cares, is rooting for Zendaya.
Yes.
She's so she's as close to perfection as you could get as a human being.
What kind of pressure do you think she feels for
that? I wonder if I just think she's actually, I think she's a normie.
Yeah.
I think she's an extraordinarily beautiful, extraordinarily talented. Normie on the inside.
Yeah, she's like a supermodel superhero, but has sort of like the charm and, like you said, like normal attitude of like a gal who could be sitting here with us having this discussion. And I love that.
Her life is not that world.
No.
Her life is much quieter.
But she cosplays in these gorgeous gowns and her fashion is insane. And so, of course, she was wearing all this beautiful Bulgari jewelry.
Yeah.
She is, she's one of the faces of Bulgari. So it's very common for these fashion houses to send out press releases saying, yes, Zendaya is wearing our stuff. But they happen to also say or leave out, they mentioned her necklace. They mentioned all of her other jewels. They did not mention the gorgeous, very large diamond on her ring finger. So obviously that got everybody talking, and there were some assumptions and, reading between the lines. She was not trying to hide that hand. She was posing
with the hand on hip.
She was posing hand forward. She was doing a lot of the things that, you do when you're engaged.
Yes.
Kind of like a little this, a little dazzle, razzle dazzle. And we saw some of her friends who were there, coming over and
with the face
that you make when you see the diamond.
Yes.
And you're excited for your friend. And they have since confirmed.
They've since confirmed it was, which I love. Have we even mentioned his name? Tom Holland is the other half of this couple.
Slow clap for Tom, honestly. Like, the one who locks down Zendaya must be a gem of a human, and it seems like he is also a normie.
Super normie, and that's where I think they met on filming Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they've been together since 2016, which is a very long time
years.
in those but also in those really formative years, right? Where you're changing and evolving.
Absolutely.
And especially if you're kind of in that machine, you can change. Like, look how many times someone like Miley Cyrus has changed in the course of her bit of time in Hollywood, or her chunk of time in Hollywood, rather.
Yeah.
So I think these two just go back to their normie lives, and that's what I love about them.
Yes.
So it was a very quiet, over the holiday proposal.
Yeah.
And there was no fanfare, no big, surprise to do confetti cannon or anything like that. Just a nice, intimate, quiet moment. But he has said that when he becomes a dad, he's done.
He wants to go and be anonymous, living his best life.
Yeah, he said, "You'll never see me again."
Never see me again.
I hope that isn't true for Zendaya, though, because I really need to keep seeing Zendaya.
No, I feel like she was born to do this. And I love a man who's willing to step into that role and step out of the spotlight. Like, it's just an absolute perfect match. And speaking of engaged couples at the Globes, we have to talk about our beloved Selena and Benny Blanco.
There they were
for all to see. Of course, we love seeing them together. Nikki Glaser, she roasted a lot of people, and Benny was in the line of fire.
He was, but I think it wasn't. I mean, they were definitely bracing for impact when she mentioned their names and the cameras got there. You could see Selena motioning like, "Oh, here we go." Mm-hmm. And I think it was a softball.
It was a softball. I think she said something along the lines of like, you better thank the genie who granted you the wish of being with Selena.
Yeah.
Obviously implying that she's a win. Which she is.
Yeah.
And I think they're in on the joke, which is fun. They don't take themselves so seriously. I think Selena's had a really serious life. She's had a lot of serious issues. She had a seriously toxic relationship with Justin. She had serious mental health issues. She's had serious physical health issues.
Serious issues with, the media and the intrusion on her life and the speculation and the constant comparison. Exactly. You're right.
Yeah.
This is some levity.
So we love the levity of Benny Blanco, who takes absolutely nothing seriously. Yeah, maybe a genie did grant me this wish, and good for me.
And good on me.
Yeah.
You know who I loved seeing too? I loved seeing Leighton Meester.
Oh my God.
Wasn't that
what a treat?
And if you want to talk about content I couldn't get enough of, I watched that from every angle, from every account that offered it. So Adam Brody steps out having the biggest moment. Yes. And I'm going to admit it. I am fully obsessed, like full obsession with
that.
Adam
Was one
Brody.
Of the biggest stories of 2024 was Adam Brody's big comeback with
Kristen Bell.
Yeah. What is that show called?
The show is called Anybody But You. Nobody But You.
Nothing. Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants this.
Wow. Okay, but I think we should come back to that because that is it's a challenging name.
Yeah.
If we can't remember it, then anyways. But it was a great show.
It was a great show. But when he stepped out and he's on the carpet and he's being photographed, and then he calls for his wife, and I was like, oh, I love this.
Yeah, she was like, no, you go, and he was like, get over here.
I need you in here.
It was hot.
It was hot, and these two do not go out. You've not seen them. You've not seen their children, and there's a reason for that. That's by design. Yeah. They are again just. They're parents and husband and wife, and they live a life completely outside of the Hollywood kind of sphere.
Yeah,
and
she is so cool.
She is so cool.
He got a lot. They got a lot of silly questions. I mean, we both know how difficult it is to come up with questions on the red carpet that are engaging and a little bit different than the other outlets. So I saw him getting a lot of questions, or she also got a lot of questions about like, how do you feel about how he was kissing in the movie and whatever. She could not have handled that with more grace and more of like that cool girl factor. Like, I was so impressed by her. She wasn't afraid to just be his biggest fan, but she was also, making it very clear that she's very secure.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good, babe.
I'm good, everybody.
I'm good.
I'm
like
really
these two
good.
are rock solid. The way she looked at him when he was answering questions, did you see that?
I did.
Oh,
I know. And I'm watching this and I'm wondering like, why am I so obsessed with these two?
Yeah.
It seems, they've got it figured out.
Yeah.
And you love a love story that is as real as you want it to be.
Yes.
And I think that theirs is exactly that.
Yeah.
And also we live in a world where Blair Waldorf married Seth Cohen. And I love that world.
We're so lucky.
We are so lucky. And I knew they were married.
Yeah.
But I just loved seeing it.
Yes.
I love being witness to just a little bit of their connection and their thing. And it made me really, really happy.
Yeah,
to
they
see.
were very sweet. They both seemed a little protective of each other in like
Yeah.
a really nice way. And they're not trying too hard to be like, we're in love. Look at us.
No.
It's just a natural, cool relationship. And I want to see more.
And the next day they just went on with soccer practice and making lunches for kids. Like they literally slid back into their
normal life,
their normal everyday lives. Like it didn't even happen.
Absolutely.
And I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that.
We need to see a lot more of that this year.
We do. You know what we need to see less of though? Is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and the "it never ends, but it's ending with us, but never ending."
Talk
story.
about nobody wants this. Nobody wants any more lawsuits, or do we? Like, it's like I can't get enough, and yet there's way too much to keep track of. But let's get into that story. That's our second story of the big three, and honestly, like I said, it could have taken up the whole episode.
Yeah,
but let's talk about it. So first, let's get into, we both have IRL experiences.
Yes.
With Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. I have not met Justin Baldoni.
I have not met the Baldoni.
We have not met the Baldoni, but I've seen enough.
Yeah.
But so you met Blake. Didn't you go on set?
Did go on set of Gossip Girl, and I met Blake outside of that as well for a couple of movies she made.
Right.
One of them, Age of Adeline, I think was the movie.
Was she rude?
No, in my experiences, pleasant,
great,
and agreeable. And I always how I can kind of read an interview is when I ask a question, I'm just watching the expression on your face as I'm asking the question. And if I'm getting
yes, you're reading the room.
So I'm constantly reading the energy of the other person, wondering how far I can push this and how far I can go and how receptive are you being to what I'm asking.
Yes.
And in the case of Blake, on the at least 4 occasions I think that I met her, I was met with a lot of pleasantry.
Okay.
Like just very nice, professional, on time, agreeable. My Ryan Reynolds experience was a little bit different.
Oh.
Ryan Reynolds experience pre-Blake.
Okay.
Pre Deadpool, Wolverine, and pre Sick Kids Ambassador.
Right.
In my experience, was not the Ryan Reynolds we see today.
Wow.
Yeah.
In what way?
Just a little bit prickly.
Well, that's interesting because I also, one of my last assignments when I worked in TV, I've taken my career into fitness and entrepreneurship, but when I was still in the game and came back for a moment, I had a whole day with him where I was producing him for the show that I was working on.
Oh.
I was in his dressing room with him, prepping him. We were chit-chatting. Actually, when I found him, when I was meant to prep him and he was in his green room, he was actually trying to leave the building to go get a coffee by himself on one of the busiest streets in Toronto.
It's a literal tourist attraction.
Very high visibility. Yeah. And I think a lineup of people waiting to get into the show that he was going to be interviewed on. So my experience was different. He was very humble. He was very sweet. So I had a different experience, but yeah, like going back to the lawsuit, all of the lawsuits, we know that Blake filed a complaint in mid-December.
Yep.
We know that then Justin, just before New Year's, filed a lawsuit against the New York Times for
libel. $250 million lawsuit claiming they cherry-picked messages and also took messages out of context.
Yeah.
And then he came out with a bunch of receipts and different messages that added a little bit more context and a bit more of maybe a fulsome look at some of the exchanges.
Yeah. And what people, or what what his lawsuit says and what it sheds light on is that he had an unpleasant run-in, not just that Ryan was meddling in the business of the creation of the movie It Ends With Us, but also that Blake and Ryan invited Justin over to their home and he berated him. And people are saying that Ryan berated Justin in a way that they have never seen before. It was the most atrocious behavior. And while I didn't have that experience with Ryan when I interviewed him or when I was working with him, he has a sharp tongue. He is quick-witted.
So quick.
I have never seen that side of him, but in my mind, I could imagine that he is quick on his feet, and he could probably cut like a knife with his words.
Yes, I agree. That assessment tracks for me. Again, we didn't see it. We don't know, but I could see. And I also know it. And also, he's a man whose wife was having a difficult experience.
Yeah.
So, of course, he's going to come to her defense and speak out about that.
If he in fact went to their home and they had a discussion about the, grievances that Blake had on set that was causing her, emotional distress, such as, what she considers to be, sexual harassment in the workplace. If that's, why they got together, and Ryan was overcome with emotion about wanting to protect his wife and the mother of his children, I kind of get that.
I kind of get that too, especially if, you've tried the email route. You've tried I'm trying to meet you where you are. I'm trying to
meeting
have
with
a
HR,
dialogue.
doing all the
and
things.
and no one's listening. Sometimes you have to go full Deadpool.
Yeah, and is it like the best, most professional way to do it? No, but can we relate on a level of like being married and we have been in situations where our husbands have been like, oh hell no, and really stepped into that in a way that like maybe even that's not his regular. Right. That's not his regular way of being, but in defense of his wife, I could see that happening. And I could see a world where I really can defend those actions.
I can see a world where this is, I actually thought that Diddy was going to be the biggest story of 2025, but this is really mushrooming into quite a story.
Well, really, Diddy's the only one benefiting from this story because it really took the heat off of him.
I haven't seen a Diddy headline in at least 4 days.
We haven't seen it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diddy's sitting back.
So Diddy's winning on this.
He is.
Which is unfortunate.
But I will say, they are about to embark down the road of litigation.
Yeah.
Speaking from, and I mean the smallest, tiniest experience, and I can't say really much. It's a terrible thing to go through. It is an awful thing to go through.
And that's why I have to assume, because, everybody's so back and forth on whose team are you on? Who do you believe? He said, she said, whatever. I have to assume that Blake and her legal team thought this through very carefully. It is very invasive, the litigation process. Their lives won't be their own for a long time now. And so if she felt as passionately as she did when she filed a complaint and then a lawsuit against him, I have to assume that she did it because she felt she had no other choice. She was backed into a corner.
Yeah.
And that makes me deeper in her camp.
And that's an interesting point, because I think what happened was when she filed the first complaint, he was dropped from his agency, for lack of a better word. And I don't believe in canceling, but he was canceled.
Right. Well, she was canceled first, let's be honest.
That's it. So she was canceled through the press tour, and then she launches the complaint. He's canceled, dropped, and everyone was Team Blake. I think there was most of the people paying attention were, yes, we stand, we support, we're in your corner. And then he came out with his version of events. Yeah. And now there's a lot of people who are like, oh, maybe I don't know how I feel. And that's where the he said, she said piece is really coming into play is there's just a lot of information and a lot more that's going to come out.
Yeah, and I think it's confusing because what's happening right now is we're also lifting under the hood of the machine of Hollywood. And so it's like what each of them are saying is that the other camp manipulated stories, manipulated headlines, manipulated, the court of public opinion in a really sinister way. And we don't know what to think anymore because we can't even trust our own instincts.
Yeah.
A lot of us were anti-Blake when the first part of the story started coming out, when they were still filming or when the press tour was happening.
I bought into all of that, Cal.
I did too.
I bought into all of it. And I was actually, once I bought into she's difficult, as somebody who sat there in a room with her and spent time with her, to my in my capacity as an interviewer.
Yeah.
I was like, I bought into all the press and the smear campaign and all the bad stories about her.
Right.
And then it made me question, my own, like, am I able to discern? Or am I just buying whatever's being fed to me?
Yeah, exactly. Because same with me. And I think, some of it could have been planted and then some of it you can't fake. Like those clips of her being nasty to the reporters. There were multiple incidences of this.
Yeah,
you
it's bad.
can't fake that. So, and two things can be true.
Right.
She can be, kind of a moody gal in those situations and maybe could be nicer. And she could also have endured sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior in the workplace, and she deserves to be protected from that. So two things can be true, but yes, as when she revealed her side of the story, I was like, oh my God, I publicly apologized to Blake because
Same.
I bought into those headlines. Now we're seeing Justin's side of things, and it's like, okay, yeah, I see sort of his side of the story. I think everybody puts their own spin on things. When she says, he barged into her trailer while she was breastfeeding and that made her feel uncomfortable. And then he has text messages with her saying, come on into my trailer, I'm breastfeeding. It's difficult to know where to stand. And we don't want to be flip-floppy. I want to stand strong. But right now, and even being an expert in media and having been inside, at these tables and inside this world, I just feel like no one can be trusted right now.
No one can be trusted. And you're exactly right. We're seeing so much more of the machine that nobody really wants you to see.
Yeah.
They really want you to see the Golden Globes. Look at us, champagne and great lighting.
Yep.
In some cases, some bad lighting too, actually. And now we're just seeing a lot more. And again, this is it ends with us. It doesn't end. It never ends. It's ongoing forever and ever and ever in perpetuity.
In perpetuity for eternity.
And it's going to get, I feel like it's going to get grosser before it gets better. And we may not ever really know either. Because these things can also settle, right? And then it can be over.
Yeah. And I hope that for them, because I really feel like at the end of the day, regardless of what happened, there's no winner here. Blake's reputation
was put into question.
Will continue to take a hit.
Yep.
I don't know that people will be rushing to enlist her as an actress on their projects. I just think it adds a bit of a stale feeling about her and potentially her behavior, even if it's not true. And it's an unfortunate thing, but reputations are important. And right now, it's in question. And same thing with Justin. I mean, Justin, let's be honest, regardless of what happens from this, he's done.
Yeah. And let's actually let's unpack that for one hot second. Reputations are important.
Yeah.
And reputations can be rebuilt, but it's much easier for men. And Robert Downey Jr. is the perfect example of that, right?
Yeah.
Years of behaviors and addiction
and arrests.
And now is the most beloved. It is very hard for women to come back from any type of scandal, for lack of a better word, or any kind of hit on their reputation. It is infinitely harder. So the mountain is much bigger for Blake to climb to regain public favor across the board.
Having said that, though, she has two very important and good and very powerful people in her corner. One being her husband, Ryan Reynolds, who's, I think he's a billionaire now. He has a bunch of, very important projects. He's a very big player. And the second being Taylor Swift.
Okay, but my question is, why have we not heard from Taylor? She is nothing if not
irreverent
and vocal.
Outspoken.
And stands for the things that are important and that matter.
Ooh,
I don't know.
You're right.
It's a little bit weird to me.
We haven't heard from her about this.
That we have not. We heard from the Traveling Pants girls.
Ooh, good point.
We have not heard from the bestie. And I find that a little strange.
Sus. It's a bit sus, as the kids say.
It is a little sus.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that plays out. But I mean, if Blake was smart, I think she would lean into that a little bit. But maybe she's not been given that opportunity.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But I do know we will be talking about this again next week, without a doubt.
Next week and the week after.
And the week after.
And the week after. But I do want to hear from our listeners,
Same.
because I feel like this is a conversation that is so multifaceted and everybody has such a different take. And I want to know what you guys think. So definitely comment, and let us know. Send us the DMs. We love to get into those juicy DMs.
We sure do. And also send us anything you're finding and hearing and
send
reading.
us the goss that you're seeing, because it's spread far and wide, and we want to hear it all. And so with that, let's get into our third of the big three, which is a fun one. Obviously, it's not fun that J.Lo and Ben Affleck, their divorce has been settled. Divorce isn't fun. The fun part, though, is that J.Lo is in her or another single era.
Yes.
Which I kind of like for her.
I do, too. I do want to start with a retraction of my own.
Right. Yes. What is this?
When Bennifer 2.0, before the movies. I need to make it really clear it was before they made the movies about their love.
The first time around.
No. Sorry.
Oh.
So
those movies.
Okay. So, not the Geelys.
Sorry, I'm like, which movies?
No, the
no,
Netflix.
No. Let's be clear. J.Lo made these movies.
Okay. J.Lo made movies about her love and about her tour. Yes? What was it called? I don't remember exactly.
But she did make like a biography about the biography.
Yeah.
She had multiple documentaries and a visual
about the album.
A visual album.
Yes. So my statement that I need to retract came from they were first back together.
Okay.
They had not done this yet.
Okay. Right. Yes.
Because I probably would have had different feelings at the time. But when they first got back together it was like, oh my gosh, these two loved each other so much and they went their separate ways and they couldn't make it work at the time because they were so famous and there was so much pressure and there was so much scrutiny and there was so many eyeballs on them and they couldn't. But now,
true.
That's right. They went on. They had their separate lives, their children and whatnot, and now they're back together. I stated,
out with it, babe. Out with it.
That this was forever.
You're nothing if not a hopeless romantic.
I am, and I really love love. And I said, this is it. If these two get married, which they did.
Yes.
This is it for them. And my reason for that was, it was like, well, where else are you going now? Right? We've already gone back to the recycling bin program. We've gone back to the people that we discarded at a time. If you're in the Blue Box program.
And honestly, if you're also admitting that all of this time, these past 20 years, you've been pining for your ex.
Yeah. While married to other people.
Where do you go from there? So we were all hoping for them and rooting. We were all rooting for them, Danielle. You're not the only one. Okay.
I made it a fact in my mind.
Yeah.
And then when we started to see the whispers of, vacation separate last year.
God.
And I was like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. They're just taking a beat.
They're laying low. Their space. Yeah. No. I know.
I was so wrong. But I was so hopeful. And I mean, there's a lot of speculation as to what happened.
Yes.
In the end of that relationship, did, her relationship with Diddy at the time, and everything that has come out and is about to come out, did that, cause some distance and some need for at the end of that relationship? It's possible.
Yeah.
They're also both just really intense and
very intense
and very they seem knee-jerk kind of reaction kind of people,
yes,
a lot of impulsive is the word. Look at Ben Affleck's back tattoo.
Oh my
God,
that
doesn't scream impulsive tendencies.
That's literally like, look it up in the dictionary. Impulsive, a photo of Ben Affleck's resurrection tattoo on his back. That is a hideous thing to
Maybe
see.
She woke up one day and said, no,
I
sir.
just can't.
No more.
I just can't.
And also, when you walk out of the bathroom backwards, please. If you have to walk away from me whilst shirtless.
That is so funny.
Please do it.
Oh my God.
Walking backwards.
It's like, the Sex and the City cliche, the Post-it episode. I'm sorry, I can't. Don't hate me. That's J.Lo without Ben's back tattoo. I'm dead. That is actually really funny.
I mean, at a certain point, things are okay. Let's just add one more, and then I should get to the next thing. But when you love somebody, you love all of this their
Totally.
stuff, right? You're like,
you see right past it.
Super cool with
Yeah.
all of this. I'm actually like obsessed with all of
Yeah.
this. And then as you start to dislike that person,
You're
which
like-
happens, we've all ended relationships.
Yeah, you get the ick.
That,
She got the ick about the tattoo.
there's no way that tattoo did not come
well,
into play.
you heard it here. We've solved
That
it.
is a statement I'm going to stand by.
Let's stand by that one. And no, but what I love is seeing her in her single era. She needs to take a break from these serious relationships, and she needs to like canoodle.
It's not gonna
Is that
happen.
a word that people use anymore? It's a word I used to use a lot in my production, in my writing.
That took me right back.
Right? If I put it in with an alliteration, it'll take us right back to 2008.
Yep.
But I love to see her out and about. And recently she was seen with Kevin Costner in Aspen.
I died when I saw that.
I was like, hot.
Yeah, hot. He is not the nicest. And this is not just my experience.
Okay.
I had one very small experience, and he was fine. He
Okay.
wasn't like thrilled to talk to me by any means.
Yeah.
There is a surliness and a seriousness
believe
and
that.
yeah. But
He will-
you've read what's happened on Yellowstone. Like he's not he's not the
an
friendliest
easy
fox.
man. He's not an easy man to be around. So I thought we could just like play like a sisterly game of matchmaker for her, because if it's not Kevin, because I don't really believe that they're in a thing.
Okay.
I think maybe they had a flirtatious evening. But if I were to set her up with anyone, I feel like,
Where are you going?
I don't know. I mean, part of me feels like maybe like she needs a bit of a rebrand, and she needs someone to be attached to someone who is so likable. And I don't know why, but like, what about like Harry Styles?
Okay. First of all, don't come for my man.
Excuse me.
Love.
Do you?
Oh, I love Harry Styles.
Oh.
I have a deep, 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 deep crush on Harry Styles.
Okay.
So I will.
Cute.
I will absolutely. I will greenlight that.
Okay,
I will
okay.
greenlight that for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
I think he's lovely and gentlemanly. He's great with children, I'm assuming, because having had his previous relationship with Olivia Wilde, she had
Yes.
kids. So I feel like he's probably good in that arena.
Right.
He's creative, and I really do believe J.Lo is a creative. I think she's
Yes.
a creator. I think
Right.
she likes. I think whether or not the art she makes is great, she loves.
It's
to
inside
perform.
of her to give, and she's
It is her
passionate
iOS.
about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Harry Styles is my pick, and I would love to manifest that for her. What is yours?
My pick. Bear with me.
Okay.
Get it? Jeremy Allen White, the bear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you know what? Jeremy Allen White, first of all, would do what I think she needs to do, which is to bring someone on board that people can't get enough of, because people have had enough of J.Lo right now.
They have a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we've had enough of her. So if you bring someone on board who people just can't quench the thirst for,
Yeah.
literally. Like, I mean, the thirst for him is insane.
He could walk in and out of a room any way he wants
Just-
in those Calvin Klein underwear, and
Yeah.
I love him. Now he is all kinds of trouble, I think.
Yeah.
He's badness.
He's a bad boy.
He is badness.
But that tracks for J.Lo. She likes a bad boy. She likes a boy that looks a little stinky. And I feel like Ben's probably a little stinky. He's got the cigarette breath. He's got
Jeremy
he's
Allen
probably yeah, he's got the, you know, I feel like Ben's the kind of guy that like maybe launders like every other week. And I feel like Jeremy Allen White is one of those guys too. He looks like he's stinky, but in a way that like she would find attractive.
Yeah, like there is a rankness there.
Yeah.
And it is probably the first like note you would get is cigarettes,
Yes,
for sure.
cigarettes, and
And
then
she
like a
seems-
hint of,
What
you know,
yesterday.
natural odors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a stale
Yeah.
t-shirt.
No one is smelling
but
like
no one cares.
Downy Fresh.
No one cares about that. Have you seen that
No.
Calvin Klein ad?
Yeah,
Like,
of
no
course.
one cares.
It lives in my mind
Yeah.
all the time. I love them for a few reasons. But also they're from the same area. He's from Brooklyn. She's from the
True.
Bronx. They have so
Fair.
that culturally they would understand each other.
Yeah,
a
they
little
have like a
bit.
New York shorthand.
They have a New York shorthand, and I think it could be great.
That's hot.
I think it'd be a
That's
hot
hot.
pairing.
Yeah.
I'm good with either of those. So we'll see what the year brings for J.Lo.
Yes, we're rooting for her as always.
I believe there will be somebody by the time we get some summer temps.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I hope she just like messes around a little bit and doesn't get married right away. But listen, like
she's not done getting married though.
Oh no, she's not done getting married. No. But good luck to you, babe.
Yes. Shall we get into our final story of the day?
Yes.
We have to talk about Meghan Markle. The return to social media.
Yeah.
And the return to Netflix.
Yes.
With a show called With Love, Meghan.
Right.
Which, from the trailer, looks very Martha Stewart. Right?
It looks very Martha Stewart. It looks very highly curated. It looks like it's been beautifully shot. It looks, highly produced.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty on par with how they move.
No budget was spared.
No budget was spared.
No.
Netflix does shoot beautiful quality things. I mean, even if you look at like Selling Sunset and things like this, they put a big budget behind these shows and they're gorgeously shot.
They're visually really high end.
And so I think that's what we're going to see with Meghan. I think that's exactly what she wants, is to have a highly curated, highly rehearsed, a highly controlled output to the world.
Yes.
But I think what the world craves, to be honest, is a lack of filter. They're looking for who's the real Meghan, who's the real Harry,
who's the real anything.
Yeah.
You're right. People want an unvarnished, imperfect, not sanitized version of people. That is what more than ever people are craving, because we do talk about how what we see on social media is the highlight reel. And the things that people want to see is what's happening behind, and this whole comparison thing. Nobody wants to feel inadequate anymore. They want to know that your house is a mess, and they want to know that your kids are misbehaving, and they want to know
they want to know what procedures Lindsay Lohan has had to her face.
You just want to know.
We want to know.
You just want to know. But I agree. It was the social media return was a bit, that first video she posted with running on the beach and writing 2025 in the sand. First of all, why did 2,000 people save that video? Like, what are you people doing?
Well, probably just to laugh at it, because, and I'm not saying I was one of them, but I think like people's favorite pastime when it comes to those two is just like, just
the saving though. Why are we what are we saving it? Like, you're not inspired by it. You just run it on the beach. No.
I don't know, because there's a fascination with them.
Yeah.
But they just like love to hate her, love to hate them, which is I'm sure a very difficult thing for them to navigate. They're trying to come out with all these projects. They've had already their documentary on Netflix. Then Harry had a documentary on Polo on Netflix. She had a failed Spotify
Polo
deal.
the sport?
Yes, Polo the sport. Not like Ralph Lauren. Like
that I would watch.
Well, actually, not a bad idea. Polo the sport, and it didn't perform well. They didn't even promote it on Netflix. That's how like much of a flop it was. And then, Meghan had her jam reveal, but then actually never released any jam. Where's the jam, Meghan? We all want to know, where is the jam?
I love how you're calling her just Meghan, because that is the handle.
Meg.
It's just at Meghan. Disabled comments though on Instagram.
Well, I mean
though, like if you're putting stuff out there,
you're right.
You have to be. I think you don't have
to be willing to.
If you want people to engage and you want people to follow along with these recipes or these hosting tips, I feel like opening up a comment section is the place to do it. I do think about the show itself. It's something I would absolutely watch, because I love a Martha moment, and I love hosting and entertaining, and I love details.
You're so good at it.
It is aligned with her interests and her past, because that's exactly what her blog, The Tig, was.
Yes.
It was elevated ways to bring people together that were also accessible, and it's all of those things.
Yeah.
It definitely feels aligned. What it may not feel is of the time today,
right?
Where we're not doing that necessarily today.
It's a bit out of touch, and I think that's kind of the word that people use, or that's the terminology that people use when they talk about Harry and Meghan, is like they're just a little out of touch. And like, who's advising them? This is what I want to know. Like, don't they have the budget for the top advisors and the top PR and marketing people who can help them along the way and make better decisions? Somebody thought that this was a good move for her.
Several people would have said, yes, do this, 100% do this, go down this road. It could be the case of living in a bubble of not knowing and not being able to read the room or read the globe.
And having yes people around
and
you.
having yes people around you, or having people who don't want to say no to you for whatever their reasons are.
Right.
They don't ever want to have any kind of discourse.
Right. So on one hand, this is sort of a return to form for her, to her TIG days, which I think was when she was like the most loved. To show that passion and to return to her roots in that way is going to be really great to see.
Yeah.
But I think that the level of curation and the disabling of the comments, like this just shows that they don't really get.
They don't get it.
What's happening right now. The things that perform the best and the people who are really at the top of the game are showing those unrefined moments and are showing more of their real true personality. And truthfully, like maybe it's just not possible for the former royals to show that side. I mean, to a degree, like yes, they've departed from the royal family, but they'll always be associated with that.
Yeah.
And so maybe we have expectations that are unreasonable.
But
I don't know.
I know at the same time, and I could ask this and answer it at the same time, is if you know you're going to be under the microscope, if you know there's going to be scrutiny no matter what you do, what's the point? Like why continue to put yourself out there in these ways?
Yeah.
But then I can answer that by saying because you want to, and you like making stuff, and you want to engage in the world, and you want to present your craft and your art and the things that you love. But then if that's the case, open your comments up. That's all I'm saying.
Hell yeah. I mean, we can both relate to taking multiple big swings and to not giving up and to being resilient.
Yeah.
And to, backing ourselves. And I think that's what she's doing. So in a way, we have to love her for it. And we'll see.
I'll watch it all. I'll tell you that.
We're definitely watching.
I'll watch the whole dang thing, and probably more than once.
I don't even like that shit, and I'm gonna watch it because I'm just like, I just need to know more. I need to see more. I'm so curious about Meghan and Harry, and I love him so much.
I know, so do I.
And I want him to be happy. So
Same.
If this showcases a little bit of their happy home, I think people will be excited about that.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. And I'm excited about this first episode of In 3.
Wait, this was a belly laughing, face hurting from smiling so hard hour for us.
Oh my God.
And I hope that translated. This is so fun. This new era for us, and I'm so excited for the people who are along for the ride.
Same. And I want to thank everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Truly. We would love to hear from you at In3Pod, at Danielle Graham, at Kelly Fit.
Yes.
And share your thoughts. You can fight with us. That's fine.
Fight
the comments
with
are
us.
always open.
You can come for me. I don't mind.
Come for me too. It's fine. Listen, it's nothing new.
We have thick skin at this point.
We sure do. We can't wait to dish and unpack and dig into all the nitty gritty with you.
Yeah.
Every single Thursday.
Every week. Let's go, baby. Thanks for listening. We love you.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.